What happens to your digital strategy when Google suddenly starts tracking your TikToks and, honestly, artificial intelligence decides to recommend your biggest competitor instead of you? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're looking at a fundamental shift in how the internet actually operates. The old walls between search engines, social media platforms, and AI assistants, they're completely collapsing. And if we're still relying on the old playbook, we're already falling behind.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. Based on insights from issue 28 of the HighDegree newsletter by SERPlab SEO, we're covering social media meeting search, SEO as a literal career superpower, the AI citation trap, the dreaded crawled but not indexed issue, and finally, how to future-proof your strategy. Starting right off with section 1, social media meets Google search, and how Google is moving way beyond just standard websites. You know, to really understand the magnitude of this shift, we gotta look at the old era. Google's Search Console used to be strictly a tool for website owners. If you didn't own a domain, you were essentially flying blind in search. But check out this new era. As of July 2026, Google has introduced platform properties. This means Search Console now directly tracks Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. You literally don't even need a personal website anymore. Algorithm updates are now deeply personal to social creators who honestly probably thought SEO just wasn't for them. And the best part is how accessible this actually is. If you're creating on these platforms, you can claim your data right now. You just open Search Console, click Add Property, select your specific social platform, and follow a few quick verification steps. Once you're in, you unlock these entirely new performance, insights, and achievements reports. You're going to see exactly how people are discovering your social accounts through Google Search and Discover. It is an absolute game changer for growing your audience. Moving right along to section 2, SEO is a career superpower. We're talking about shifting from a tactical mindset to a highly strategic one. So, this shifting landscape, we really shouldn't see it as a burden. It's actually a massive opportunity for your career. Nicole Lee, who's the head of marketing for North America at Wadi, she points out that search data shows you what customers are actually trying to solve, not just what they claim in surveys. She says, and I love this, that search data trains you to connect actions to business outcomes. It builds systems thinking, the ability to see how changing one single thing affects this complex whole. This perfectly explains why SEO skills transfer so directly to broader growth, demand generation, and leadership roles. Really, it's all about how you position yourself. If you're out there describing yourself merely as an SEO specialist who just hands in keyword ranking reports, well, you're kind of going to get boxed into a tactical corner. But if you shift to a strategic frame, acting as a marketer who uses search intelligence to actually lower acquisition costs and drive attributed pipeline, everything changes. Focusing on real business outcomes over basic ranking reports, that is exactly what gets you invited into the high-level strategy rooms. All right, let's look at section 3, the AI citation trap, focusing on a really fascinating 4-month experiment by Ahrefs. Let's get a reality check on just how unpredictable artificial intelligence is in search right now. Mateusz Makosiewicz over at Ahrefs ran this 4-month experiment. His team basically wanted to know, does publishing self-promotional content actually help get you recommended by AI assistants like ChatGPT and Gemini? Well, the data reveals a pretty stark contrast. For a brand new conference they launched called Ahrefs Evolve, 82% of new brand mentions in AI responses came directly from their self-promotional pages. But for their established brand radar tool, that self-promotion barely moved the needle at all, driving only 6% of new mentions. So self-promotion works beautifully for filling an awareness gap for new brands, but it's pretty much useless for established ones. But wait, here is the absolute most shocking finding from this whole experiment: 43%. The crucial point here is this. In 43% of cases where an AI actually cited Ahrefs' promotional page as a source, it still turned around and chose to recommend a competing event instead. And that brings us to this incredibly vital takeaway. Getting cited is definitely not the same as getting recommended. It's a crazy paradox, right? AI citations are often highly temporary, just flickering in and out of existence. And more importantly, aggressive self-promotion can actually backfire on you. You might provide the AI with just enough context for it to ultimately go ahead and recommend your competitors. It's just a completely different playing field than traditional search. Which brings us to section 4, crawled but not indexed. This is the strict new reality of Google. So one of the biggest headaches right now is checking Search Console and seeing your pages stuck in this weird indexing limbo. You know the one, crawled, currently not indexed. So why does this keep happening? Well, according to some recent analysis from SEO consultant Marie Haynes, the biggest culprit is what she calls commodity content. This is content that basically covers the exact same ground as thousands of other pages out there. It lacks original insight, it lacks firsthand experience, and frankly, it just doesn't offer anything a reader couldn't instantly get from a quick AI summary. So Google crawls it, decides it just isn't useful enough to take up space in its index, and moves on. If you're suffering from this, Marie Haynes outlines 3 really actionable steps to fix those indexing headaches. First, meticulously check what is already ranking for those queries. Second, run an AI-assisted commodity check to see if your content is just a bit too generic. And third, and honestly most importantly, ask yourself honestly if your version actually adds unique value. Recovering from this isn't about tweaking a few keywords anymore. It really requires making your content genuinely different and deeply human.
And that leads us perfectly into our final section, future-proofing your strategy. How exactly do we navigate this strict, AI-driven, multi-platform search landscape? The short answer here, ditch the tricks. Recently, a debate popped up on Reddit about hiding links using JavaScript to basically game Google's first link priority, trying to force Google to only read specific anchor text. Well, Google search advocate John Mueller weighed in on this, and this brilliantly illustrates why transparency always wins. He confirmed that building your internal linking strategy around obfuscation tricks is highly unreliable. I mean, hiding a link in a script element means it's not even technically a link anymore, and you're just trying to game a behavior that Google can change literally overnight. Clean, transparent internal links, those are always the dependable path. So let me ask you directly. How do you plan to survive and thrive in a world where generic commodity content gets punished, where AI might read your site only to turn around and recommend your competitors, and where social media platforms are now massive search engines in their own right? The answer is that you have to be specific. You need to bring genuine human experience to the table and build content that simply cannot be replicated by a generic AI prompt. Look, to keep mastering these complex topics and to make sure you stay ahead of the curve, I want you to visit serplabseo.com right now and subscribe to the HighDegree newsletter. It is absolutely the best way to ensure you're never caught off guard by these massive digital shifts. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today, and I'll leave you with this one final thought. As the walls between search, social, and AI continue to collapse, are you going to let algorithms replace your voice, or will you force them to cite your irreplaceable expertise?